Honourable members, please be seated. Honourable members, the Honourable Attorney General and Minister for Justice to deliver his speech. You now have the floor, sir.
Daniel 2, 20-23. Blessed be the name of God forever and ever, to whom belong wisdom and might. He changed times and seasons. He removes kings and set up kings. He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to those of understanding. He reveals the deep and hidden things. He knows what's in the darkness, the light dwells with him. To you, God my fathers, I give thanks and praise, for you have given me wisdom and might, have known to me what we ask of you. Truly, you are the Lord of Lords, the revealer of mysteries. Mr. Speaker, the Honourable Prime Minister, the Honourable Deputy Prime Ministers, Honourable Leaders of the Opposition, Honourable Members of Parliament, and invited guests joining us today here in Parliament, as well as those watching and listening on the live broadcast on the radio and television. It is indeed a privilege and a great pleasure for me today to stand before you in this august house to deliver my maiden speech. Mr. Speaker, sir, firstly, I warmly congratulate you on your appointment as Speaker of Parliament. I join others in wishing you the very best in your role as Speaker. The people of Lomai Viti are united in this stand, particularly the people from Ngau Island and Somosomo City. You have our support and look forward to working with you to lift our beloved Fiji to a higher destiny, to a new plateau of compassion. Mr. Speaker, sir, my journey started at Assembly of God Primary School, an intermediate school, before I moved into Central Fijian School in 1982, now Sila Central High School. Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like to acknowledge and pay tribute to Mr. Penny Wunisauhan Sila, also known as Misianda Sila, for his foresight and the sole founder of the school back in 1958, to serve the education needs of the students from Tailevu, Naitasiri, and Reo. He was particularly involved in the banana plantation business at that time, when he heard parents, particularly Itoke, complaining about the problem of not finding any school for their children, since established schools like QVS, RKS, ACS, LMS, and others were full. He decided to use his personal savings from his business to start a new school to accommodate the students who had no school available for them at that time. Mr. Speaker, sir, he used his office in Osori Town to be his new school and named it Central Fijian School. He later requested the Komai Osori to offer him a piece of land to lease, which enabled the school to be relocated to its present location. In August 1990, the administration and management of the institution were officially handed over to the government. Mr. Speaker, sir, initial school motto reflected the dedication and the hard work of its founder, Turaga Naita from Tonga Reo. Visibility through excellence. Then labor conquers everything, to bring into focus that everything is possible through perseverance, dedication, personal drive, and self-determination. The theme was changed in 1991 to striving for excellence, building a culture of excellence, and aim at lifting the mediocre and casual attitude and staff to make the school more competitive in whatsoever it undertakes. I vividly recall in 1982 when I enrolled in Form 3. We were assembled near the library and the principal shouted in a loud voice, "Those of you who want to be doctors, engineers, technicians, form a line to my right. Come to my left, those of you who want to be teachers, civil servants, lawyers, and politicians." I wanted to be a lawyer, so I went to the left. Little did I know that it would turn into a reality when I was admitted into the bar in 1999. Sworn in as a resident magistrate in 2012, and Attorney General Minister for Justice the 24th of December, 2022. I wish to pay tribute to my former principals, Mr. J. Rongida, Roni Sobakadolo, Master Selfa Finau, and of course, all the past teachers of Central Fijian School. Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like to thank God for giving me the strength, the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Who would have thought that the son of Methodist pastor from Tubulila Nerelo Mabiti would be here today to deliver his maiden speech in his father's house? My hope as a Christian is not fundamentally rooted in man's goodwill and rationality, but in God alone. Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like to thank my immediate family, my beautiful wife, sitting in the gallery, Pamela Turaga. My children, Josephine Mbola, Serema Tadini Korodi Turaga, Serema Pamela Turaga, for their unceasing prayers and support. I also acknowledge my Tata Lebu, Tamai Lili and Tina Lili. Thank you for your prayer. To my eldest brother Tata Lebu, Wesakingoli, Tamai Navi in Sydney, Australia. My only sister, Abisa Kimbau, Tina Audrey of Melbourne, Australia. Tamai John Ilesa Velua and his family in Nakasi. Tamai Matthew in Nepani. And my late young brother, with heaven, Sibin Baniwatura. My younger brother was laid on the day I was sworn in, then Mr. Attorney General, Minister for Justice. Mr. Speaker, sir, I seek your indulgence to speak in my mother tongue. Tomanda ulabuta na nungupa kami nakadede kia, kina nungupa nui kumbunay wai, na ngone turang na tuinay rai, nungu korlo man tubulilay, ngone ratu na rok tuimbang. Na turang matapuli, ang Galileo na tuibutuna kay ang Galisaw na kumailawaki. Pinagmalebu na bay masulaki, kina bay tokoni, kamay raw kina dhambiti, na itutu ni biluta kina nonda matintulo mani. O siya talanganing ulit na bikyam doon nung guleo ni Bubale na busa kadi, laskaw. Yan ang korobiyo ni kengarani mayngaw. Kinakyan na isemba bakan rayo biti kay babalangi. Kung ibito ko di bayaw na nung gubabaraw kinibinding ni katapati ko may na singan dahin. O siya mata na nung gubabim na kakinisosong ni Lomay biti Western Nandi. Lauto ka ba kay raki-raki. Kibikyam doon na nung PPT may Australia, may Amerika, may Cook Islands, sa may raw ng gangga na numdo dua bata, yalo bata, ay tabi bimbi me lebitikina ng rotini niya sa may biti. Ay kaya diti ba kina matintionggo ni kolis ni bilutekina ng gangga may nabatu brigadier city bending mamandar muka. O dabuto talaga nung gupa ka moli-moli kina nung gupa ka binaka kibikim do tarang na kangu. Maniyatu yasawa. Do dola binaka na kangu. Binakabale mo na betok ko na ni biwa kani makau kubuni wa ikene atu yasawa. No itaka ni bese matingwa na ba mbulung-mbulu takatalamay na mbulu ni biwa kani kene bese mati na be ngoni binaka satu matang. O watilo ngon turanga tataklengaw. Dabi ngaling-gali mo na turanga na ratu. Turang na lewen na turang tuy bonoso. Turang na turimbaw, ina no baturang ang batiki. Turang na ratu na tuy motoriki. Nabukan-bukan turang na tuy lebu. Na korwatu na turang na rok takal. Wailebu na turang na tuy wailebu. Bureta na turang na ratu. Na niya no turang o koro. Mundu bukan turang na mati ni mundu, tawa bukan turang itu nengai. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to my congregation Nation Soni Methodist Church in Wangandra, in the Namaka Circuit within the Nandi Division. Special thanks to the Turang na Ibatawa, Manasara Tumurin Chico Sumaki, and the Randinis and the church elders. A special mention of my spiritual mentor, Mr. Tayone Koroisavo, and his lovely wife. I wish also to acknowledge our church former minister at Namaka Methodist Church, Reverend Tomasi Nonakamakama, and his family, and my current minister, Tebita Rokomosoi Keti. I also wish to express my gratitude to the present support of the Divisional Church Minister, Reverend Tebita Uniwanga. Last but not least, my church members of Nasiredi Methodist Church and the members of the community and the Pani Nashilo, for their support and commitment, endless prayers of my support have given me the strength and determination. I would like to take this opportunity to express my appreciation to the community leaders who first settled in Nepani housing estate in 1975, and the current leaders who have one way or another positively influenced my life throughout the years until today. We have molded the life skills that I'm embarrassed in my life. Special thanks to the following people who have been part of the Turanga team in Loma EVT. My campaign manager, Manasa Kikau, my PA team Koro, including Eleni Lubunitonga, Colin Dole Kamba, Walisio of Nadamaki, Naivak of Nassau, and my Tabali Wilmoni of Nassau Koro. To my media officer, Ratu Moses Mateika, we seated at the gallery, and forever grateful for your dedication and support. I also would like to acknowledge the moral support from the St. John extended families throughout Fiji and abroad, Nairai, Kandawu, Gawia, and Lautoka. Also wish to acknowledge my family from Daku, Bunikavika, Diwan family, and from Buda Bay, Tunula, Waiwood Estate, the elder family. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am fortified by the words of Joshua 1:9. Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened. Do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. 2 Timothy 1:7. For God gave us the spirit not of fear, but of power, love, and self-control. Deuteronomy 31:6. Be strong and courageous. Do not fear or be dread of them. For he is the Lord your God who goes with you. He will not leave you or forsake you. Mr. Speaker, sir, I commend His Excellency the President for his address to this House, stressing on the urgency and the need to embody a collective spirit of resilience and resolve and respect for every single person in Fiji, as well as the rights of community in Fiji. These are the foundation and pillars of which a strong and prosperous nation is built upon. Martin Luther King Jr. told us something that we need to hear. He said that, quote, "We are now faced with the fact that tomorrow is today. We are confronted with the fierce urgency of now in the unfolding life and history," unquote. Similarly, Senator Robert Kennedy said, quote, "It is a time a man stands up for an ideal or acts to improve the lot of others or strikes out against injustices. He sends forth a tiny ripple of hope. And crossing each other from a million different centers of energy and daring, those ripples build a current that can sweep down the mightiest walls of oppression and resistance," unquote. Mr. Speaker, sir, from villages, Tikina, the 14th province of Fiji, including Rabi and Kioa, and Rotuma, from our towns and cities, our people have caused ripples of change. Together, we have swept down the walls of oppression that existed for the past 16 years. In my role as Attorney General, Minister for Justice, I am committed to seeing that the dreams of our people are realized through the observance and adherence to the rule of law, and the chains and shackles of oppression are once and for all broken. This is a new chapter for Fiji, and prioritizing the needs of our country is of paramount importance. It is therefore a collective duty to seize every opportunity to progress our nation in the best way possible. Mr. Speaker, Sir, Justice William Robert Marshall, QCSC, former resident Justice of Peace of Fiji, petitioned the former Prime Minister, a current leader of the opposition, to address, and I quote, "The progressive inroads into the independence of the judiciary since mid-April 2012, which at all levels does what it perceives is required of it by the executive," unquote, and to persuade the former Prime Minister to change the executive policy immediately. Mr. Speaker, sir, unfortunately, this was not done, nor was the advice afforded to him heeded. Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like to highlight two instances that were reported in the Fiji 2020 Human Rights Report that are of particular importance to rule of law by the United States of America. One is in relation to my ruling on the 15th of April 2020 at Nandi Magistrate Court, which subsequently led to the non-renewal of my contract. The matter went on appeal the next day to be called before Justice Pereira. What was shocking here is that my predecessor conveyed a press conference in the morning before the review of my decision was called at around 2:30 p.m., criticizing my ruling, which in my opinion is a clear breach of the separation of powers, the sub judice principle, and what appeared to be a prima facie case of contempt of court. The second incident, Mr. Speaker, is on the 19th of May 2020. High Court ruling made by Justice Temo that dismissed convictions of civilians caught violating the national curfew was overturned, and magistrates were directed not to follow Justice Temo's ruling. Fast forward to 2023. Mr. Speaker, sir, Justice Temo is now the current acting Chief Justice. The resident magistrate who lost his job on the 10th of May 2020 is standing before you as the Attorney General, Minister for Justice. Today is the day of restoration. It starts today. We will follow throughout this year because God is with us. Who will be against us? Let the justice flow like a river. The people of this nation have been praying for the last 16 years. Praying for freedom, praying for mercy. Tukunan do nagunana, may sobo mga wawatilay na way kama. Sa rauta manda na bibalo mataki sa rauta. Kami binakata na bisareki. Sa rauta na bibakukotaki. Kami binakata ng lala. That's what, Mr. Speaker, sir, Fijian joy is today. I received a message, an email from an unknown person from Canada of Indian descent. I don't know this person, Wayne Iota. And this is what he said. It is a day of hope, what the coalition government have done. That is the word on the street. Go out and see for yourselves. I've been stopped here and there, people hugging me. Thank you, I don't even know them. Because this is finally a new freedom. The freedom this coalition government gave to them, that you now can work from 55 to 60. That your work is not limited for 3 years. You can work your contract from 55 to 60, and your contract is extended until the end, the age of 60. May I add, it's the commitment of this government to ensure that the locals who are best positioned to understand our local citizen laws and culture are trained and recruited in the judiciary. This, Mr. Speaker, is the policy of localization. It is a global practice. It is not unique to Fiji. Mr. Speaker, the Constitutional Office Commission and the government has for the first time provided a transparent report of its proceedings. And this is something that we will maintain. Prior to this, unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, the Commission operated in a cloud of secrecy, unknown to the people of Fiji. The same can also be said for the operation of the Prerogative of Mercy Commission. This is a clear sign of democracy truly alive in Fiji. On that note, Mr. Speaker, may I add, it is the very first meeting of the COC that resulted in the expulsion of my predecessor, who used to stay here, out of this parliament. Because he did not know the law that he actually drafted. That is untold. for an Attorney General not to know the law they have drafted. What happens when you draft laws without consultation? Mr. Speaker, may I impress upon the members of this House to maintain decorum in the way we conduct ourselves in addressing issues in this House. May I plead to my fellow honorable members, we must avoid disgraceful and contemptible conduct, including what we say, and above all, we must accord a high level of dignity and respect to another. Our integrity as members of this House must never be questioned or compromised. In this respect, I salute the steadfastness of the level of integrity to the rule of law displayed by His Excellency, the President, the Office of Public Prosecution, the Commander of the Republic of Fiji Military Force, prior to and after the election, to the successful formation of the Coalition government. It is a cardinal role of my portfolio as Attorney General and Minister for Justice to provide the best legal advice to His Excellency, the President, to maintain and uphold the rule of law. And that is exactly what I did, Mr. Speaker, sir, in my first official meeting with His Excellency in January this year. What will I say? This is, Mr. Speaker, sir, the rule of law is simply that no one is above the law, and it must be applied across all arms of government. And the people, where they share the expectation of independence, is crucial and necessary to the wording of my government. Mr. Speaker, sir, during my official visit to the Fiji Correctional Service last Friday, 10th February, I impressed upon the management staff of Fiji Correctional Service the need to accord respect and dignity amongst the officers and in the treatment of inmates. This is not only demanded by the Constitution, but is moral obligation towards another fellow human being. The removal of this discriminatory policy against women employees at the Fiji Correctional Service who were terminated on the grounds of their pregnancies is one of the latest positive changes made. I am appalled to think that in this time and age, such a policy even existed. To that end, I will ensure that no policy of that nature will continue. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Media Industry Development Act 2010 is a highly controversial law, and many have questioned how this law came about. I was informed at a workshop held last Thursday, 9 February 22, that my predecessor summoned journalists and other representatives from media organizations at Holiday Inn and was surprisingly told to submit their comments to the draft Media Industry Development within 2 hours. Mr. Speaker, sir, that was the only consultations framework undertaken by the Fiji First Government where a new law with far-reaching impacts on the media industry was proclamated. This is totally unacceptable. To the media industry, be rest assured, this government has begun the work to review the Media Industry Development Act 2010 with the commissioning of a team of media personnel and experts. This is to ensure that any forms of regulation and reflective consultation respect the rights of people, removes any punitive provisions against journalists and media personnel. Fiji Elections Office will also be conducting an internal audit of the results management information system which governs the results process of the 2022 general election. This is to identify the issues surrounding the glitch situation that occurred on election day last year. The confidence of people in the FAO must be restored. Mr. Speaker, sir, as the FAO is also tasked with the conduct of some 36 registered trade unions elections, it envisages for this year as well as a conduct for local government elections. The respective laws governing this, Mr. Speaker, sir, must be in fact to enable a transparent and accountable process. Mr. Speaker, I also wish to highlight the progress made within the Ministry of Justice with the digitalization of records, which has been progressed and includes records within the Office of Administrator General, births and deaths, marriage, official receivers, register of companies, and register of titles. Once the entire process is completed, Mr. Speaker, sir, online service will be expanded to across all registries and offices to provide for efficient service delivery. I'm committed to see this process through, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as Attorney General and Minister for Justice, it is my prerogative to see that all laws are up to date, approved or repealed, if need be. This includes the review of the Legal Practitioners Act 2009 and to improve the standard of legal practices in the country and to remove the onerous requirement that do not serve any practical purpose, to include the Fiji Law Society and apex of legal profession in Fiji. Mr. Speaker, sir, also the importance of government is the review of the laws that affect the Itauke, and particularly the amendment that were brought about by Act 22 of 21, otherwise known, commonly known as the Bill 17. The Office of the Attorney General will work closely with government ministers to have this progress and to ensure that the necessary consultation with key stakeholders are carried out. At this juncture, Mr. Speaker, I would like to quote the words of Edmund Burke, a British political figure in the 18th century, who said, and I quote, "The greatest difference between the real statesman and the pretender is that one sees into the future, while the other regards only the present. One lives by the day and acts on expediency, the other acts on enduring principles and for immortality." Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm no pretender. I'm deeply humble and honored and remain so a servant of the people of Fiji. You, my brothers and sisters, were called to be free, but do not use your freedom to indulge the flesh. Rather, serve one another humbly in love. Paul's letter to the Galatians 5:13. Before I conclude, Mr. Speaker, sir, on the 2nd of April 1991, I was fortunate to be employed in the Public Service Commission into a department that was headed by the Honorable Prime Minister then, Siti Veni Rabuka. Today, I stand before this August House as his Attorney General, 31 years later. I give glory to the Lord. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. May God bless this August House and may God bless Fiji.
Thank you, Honorable Siromi Turaga.